y'all, it's Allie, and I took a couple weeks off, so I kind of just wanted to do a little ramble video to get back into it. This is the week of Christmas. Yesterday was Christmas, and this year is the first year that we haven't had to go anywhere for Christmas. I don't think I would want to do what we did this year every year, but considering our holiday schedules the last couple years, it was really nice to do it this year. I finished all of my grading and put all of the grades in the grade book to be posted. I cleaned out one of the classrooms that I teach in. I cleaned out my desk finally because I never really had time to get it set up at the beginning of the school year. I wrote up an email to parents. I teach English and theater, so I had like 2 different form emails that I wrote up and sent to the parents just to tell them, here's what we did over the semester, and I'm really proud of your kids, and here's what we're going to do next semester. We're going to start 1984, and we're going to do a rhetorical analysis comparing 2 speeches. And so yeah, just kind of letting them know, like, here's what's going on, and that I was done on the last day before break. Which is awesome because it means that I'll have a little time to plan the next unit before I go back to school, and yeah, it's going to be good. I'm going to do a lot of handwritten exercises with my English students because they are re-imaging their laptops the first week that we're back, so they won't have their laptops available to them for at least the first week. So I just kind of want to, take time to read in class. I always make them read for the first 20 minutes of class to themselves, silently, a book of their choice. That's something that I started this year, and I really, really like it. We have 80-minute blocks, and 80 minutes is just a lot. And you always feel tempted to come up with these opening exercises. They call them bell ringers because you're supposed to do them when, they're supposed to come in and like see it on the board and do it as the bell is ringing, and that's what you spend the first couple minutes of class on as kind of like an introduction. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of it's probably more useful in middle school, honestly. And the year that I was an intern, one of my mentors would have a poem a day, and so he would start out each class with a poem. And he asked me to keep it going once I took over his class, and I just couldn't make myself do it. It was really hard, and I don't know, I felt like it wasn't very fair to ask of me. That's a lot. It wasn't like he was waking up in the morning and going like, what's the poem of the day gonna be? Like, he had it all planned out, so to kind of expect me to do that was a lot. Just as an intern, never being in the classroom. And I still kind of think it's a lot. I like the idea. I think that the way that I usually see poetry taught is it's kind of like you give the kids a packet with a bunch of poems in them, maybe close to the end of the year when nobody feels like doing anything, and you don't really spend a lot of time on it, or you don't try to attack it in a variety of ways for a variety of learners, and a lot of it just ends up like being busy work, which is too bad. And so students were saying that they wanted more meaningful engagement with poetry, and so that was his way of doing it, or what he tried to do that year. And really it was like he would read the poem and maybe explain a little bit about it, and then he would ask the kids if they had had a positive experience with poetry that day. And then they would do. And I think that that's an interesting thing to try with kids who have decided that poetry isn't worth the time, is just to ask them if that experience was positive and allow them to have positive experiences throughout the year with poetry. If not every day, maybe every week. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so that's what he did, and it was a nice way to start class because everybody would sit down and he would introduce the poem and then he would read it, and they would, it'd be up on the board and they would read along as he was reading it, and then he would talk about it briefly, and then they would all thumbs up, and then you dove into the next activity that you were going to do in class. And for me, I really like the reading thing because they do a lot of the work for you. They choose which book they want to read, and they bring it with them and sit down and read their own book to themselves for 20 minutes. Daily independent reading. And I like it because I want the students to do book talks every 9 weeks about a book of their choice, and I feel like I need to give them the opportunity to read that book in class if I'm going to ask them to read it on top of whatever assigned reading I've already given them. And I also like it because, especially on Fridays, like fourth block on Friday, it's really nice to have everybody sit down and be quiet for 20 minutes. It kind of gets everybody focused and reminds everybody why we're here. It's 20 minutes where they're not on Snapchat with their friends. It's 20 minutes where, they're not allowed to reach for their phone if the notifications go off, and so it requires you to be present in a way that I think is really useful for the rest of the class. And it also means I have less time to fill because it takes up 20 minutes. So, yeah, I don't remember why I got on that tangent, but hey, that's what this video is. That's why we're here. So yeah, I don't have to worry about a whole lot over break, so I was really able to just relax. My husband stayed home. He had like a 4-day weekend, so he stayed home with me, and he is usually very get up early in the morning, start getting things done, have my coffee and read a little bit, and then I'm ready to start tackling the to-do list, and I'm going to be in the garage all day working on my motorcycle and blah blah blah. And I'm like, just don't make me get up. You can do whatever you want as long as I can hang out on this couch. I feel the need to recharge over the weekends, being around people, and having 150 students, and then being around adults who need a lot from you, because we very much, this is happening more and more. It's a problem. Yeah, being on a team of people who work really well together, it just takes a lot of energy out of me. So on the weekends, I'm like, I'm not moving, I'm not doing anything. Which is why it's kind of amazing that I've been making and editing and posting videos, because usually I'm just comatose over the weekends. But it's nice to have something to look forward to that is, it's pretty low stress at this point. And thank you to all 37 of you who subscribe to me. Um, yeah, it's pretty low stress, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. So, but that, like, I want that to be the most strenuous thing I do over a weekend, is make a video. So he really kind of stepped into my shoes a little bit over the 4-day weekend and hung out on the couch. So many dogs. Hush. So he really got out of his comfort zone and found himself in my shoes over this 4-day weekend. And we just hung out on the couch and watched movies and TV and read. We wrapped and opened presents yesterday, and it's just been very chill because we didn't have to go out of town to visit my parents or his parents. And like I said, I wouldn't want to do that every year. But it just being the two of us and the dog was pretty incredible this year. So yeah, maybe once every 3 or 4 years we could do one like this. But yeah, we didn't really see anyone. We had some friends come in from out of town. They were supposed to hang out with somebody else, and she got sick, and all of her kids got sick, so it was kind of like a last minute thing of like, well, we're here, can we hang out with you instead? So that was excellent. We went to a local beer garden and got what are they called? Steamed buns at a local restaurant, and then had a drink and came home and didn't feel like crap the next morning. So a nice mellow evening out. And then my cousin had a Christmas Eve party on Christmas Eve, and we went over there and hung out for a couple hours and then came home. So no like big family stuff, which is fair because I went and saw my side of the family for Thanksgiving this year, and that is, no lie, like 40 people in one house. So it's a lot. So it was nice to have a mellow Christmas. So, yeah. I've taken a little time off of zine reviews, but I've been writing more. So far I haven't written anything that I want to publish, but I would say I feel like a good rule of thumb is that you should be writing so much that you only publish like 10 to 15% of what you write. And so I get up in the morning and I write stuff that I never expect to see the light of day. I did this several years ago, but it was with a sketchbook, and it was like drawing or painting and collaging, and a lot of cool stuff came out of that. I mean, a lot of mornings it was like nothing, but then some mornings like something really cool would come out of that. And I really felt productive and prolific when I was doing that, even though it was just kind of like playing around in a sketchbook, and it wasn't really for anything, and none of it really ended up anywhere. Nobody really ever saw it. I felt like I was making something every day, so I felt like more of an artist because of that. So, yeah, I just kind of have reached a point where I feel mentally healthy and strong enough to commit myself to showing up for the work every day, which is not really something that I've been able to do regularly for a while, not in any capacity where like anybody would ever see it. So I'm just starting out with writing for the sake of writing and not expecting to show it to anyone, and then eventually out of that stuff will start happening. But I just kind of have to show up for now. So some things that I'm doing in the coming months. One of my goals is to use up all of the pens that we have in the house with writing before I buy more pens. I recently went through a drawer and I pulled out all of the good pens and put them in my drawer with all of my zine stuff, because I might want to use it on zines. And I left all of the gross pens in the drawer, so I went ahead and cleaned those out too, and now I'm going to use the gross pens when I write in the morning, because y'all won't see that anyway. When I say gross pens, I mean like pens with the name of prescription drugs on the side, pens from like supermarket visits that my father-in-law did, and he probably just gave us a free pen, like the free pens, you know what I mean. Or I have some pens that I bought, you know, 1.5 million years ago, and then lost interest in them when I bought a different pen. And I don't know, I have all these half-used perfectly good pens, so I'm going to use those, and I'm going to use up all of the notebooks and the journals that I have, because I'm at a point right now where I have a lot of notebooks and journals that I bought for like a specific thing and then ended up not doing that thing because I start stuff and then don't finish it so many times. And so I just want to fill up the pages with whatever goop comes out first thing in the morning. So yeah, that's kind of like my fun way of saying like my goal is to write every day. My goal is to use up all of the pens and all of the notebooks before I buy more. And then also I want to read all of the books that I bought for myself that I own still that I have not started or finished. Which I went through the house and counted them up, and that makes about 50. So I cannot commit to reading 50 books in a year. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do that. Whatever, I can't. But I am going to read more of the books that I own before I buy more books. Unless they're for my students, because that doesn't count. Because I am acquiring a pretty decent classroom library that I have to haul around me from room to room. I've got like one of those carts on wheels, and so I have like my backpack full of all of my crap and like whatever other bullshit that I have to carry around with me all the time, and then I also have like a cart on wheels that I'm pulling behind me that has my classroom library in it, because I don't get my own classroom. But that's okay, because I wouldn't know what to do with it if I had one. So yeah, I'm not counting like if I find something good for my students and I want to add it to the classroom library, but I'm not going to buy books for myself for a while until I've read through some of the ones that I have. My cousin gave me Abby Jacobson's book. I think it's called I May Regret This. I really enjoy Broad City. It was something that I wanted to watch for a long time, and then I didn't have TV. We had Netflix, but we didn't have TV, and so it wasn't on Netflix, so I couldn't see it. And then we switched from Netflix to Hulu because Netflix has gotten boring, and whenever Hulu gets boring, we'll switch back. But now that I have Hulu, I can watch all these Comedy Central shows that I never had a chance to watch, that I was interested in. And so I've been watching Broad City, and I love it. And I don't know much about the actresses outside of that show. But my cousin knows that I like that show, and the book is about Abby Jacobson going on a road trip and then writing a book, and that is so up my alley. I went on a road trip by myself for a month back in 2006 and blogged about it. And I read the opening of the book last night, and she says, in order for me to take this road trip, I had to admit to myself that absolutely everything that could go wrong would. And that is exactly what I did when I went on mine. So I have a feeling that this book's going to hit kind of close to heart. But yeah, in order to let go of anxiety and actually do things that I am excited about, I have to go through all of the worst case scenarios and then just become okay with the possibility that any of those things could happen. Or really, it's more like all of those things are going to happen. Everything is going to be terrible. And then when none of those things happen, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I'm the best. So it's one of my fun little coping mechanisms that you will get to know more and more about as I continue with this Warglitter project. But yeah, I'm excited about that book. And then my mentor who I was telling you about before, he got me Shirley Jackson's book. I'm not going to remember the name of it correctly. We've Always Lived in the Castle. Penguin Classics printed a really beautiful version of it not too long ago that has like jaggedy edges across the side, and then it's paperback, but the illustration on the cover is really cool. Line drawings of people. So yeah, I'm excited about that too. But I'm not buying myself any books. It's just other people know that I love to read. And I will probably get a blank book for Christmas, because that's what you buy somebody if you know that she likes to write. Just like if you're not sure, you don't know somebody very well, you buy her smelly soaps, because all bitches love smelly soap. So yeah, I had a really great holiday, and I never have my hopes up about New Year's. We usually don't go anywhere, so maybe since we didn't go anywhere for Christmas, we'll just consider continuing to subvert expectations by actually going out for New Year's Eve. I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking that I would like to continue doing some more rambly videos on this channel, like maybe once a month. Kind of talk about what I've been writing about that nobody's going to see the light of day of. Like something like that, or just kind of like an update with me. Because I don't really blog day to day anymore, but I love record keeping and looking back and reflecting, and so I think it'd be kind of nice to have like semi-regular check-ins on the channel just as I continue to make stuff. My neighbor's listening to something, but I can't tell. I don't think I know this song. Yeah. So yeah, there will be another Warglitter 2 issue out soon. I'm starting to think quarterly is going to be the best thing. I think that once every 2 months might be a little bit much. So I'm thinking Warglitter might be a quarterly thing, and then if I want to do the occasional one-off, I can. But it's definitely going to be more writing heavy. That's how it's shaping up right now. That can change, but I think I just need a little bit more time than once every 2 months to make enough stuff to go into one. But that's totally flexible, and that's why I like zines. So that'll be out soonish. I mean, it's December, and like the first one came out in November, so it'll happen. And then I already have some cover art for that. My friend Yeston has volunteered his talents, and it's really cool, and I'm excited to show it to you, but I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer to that one coming out. And then there's a zine coming out soon that I contributed to a while back, but I'm not really allowed to talk about it yet. I promised I wouldn't say anything, but there is something coming out with some of my work in it. Yeah. I don't know if there's like a ton else going on. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this break before I go back to school. And just kind of keep doing the work, and it'll turn into something else that I haven't even thought of yet later. So I'm not worried about it. But that's basically what's going on. So yeah, I hope all is well with all of you, and that you are all safe and hanging out with exactly who you want to hang out with and doing exactly what you want to do, because hey, you deserve it. And yeah, in the meantime, keep making and do it yourself.